father.
And son.
And today, Jason and I are going to do something that I didn't have to put any prep into whatsoever, and Jason did all the work. So I'm very excited because, you know, I get to be lazy and just listen to Jason talk.
I didn't even really do, like, it took me like 5 minutes to put this together.
Oh, you're not supposed to tell everybody that. You gotta pretend like it was like really grueling and you worked really hard on it and you're very excited to present it.
Some of them I have no idea, like,
why they're even there.
Yeah.
Oh good.
Well,
I was
that's
joking.
not what I meant. I meant like some of them I was like, should I put this on my list?
Tonight we're going to listen to Jason count down his 12 favorite movies thus far in his life, because of course he's still a little dude and has a lot more movies to see, but where he's at, and you know, none of us are as well watched as we'd like to be, but Jason's only had 12 years of life so far, and about half of that he even remembers the movies he's seen probably. That's how ages tend to work, and we've reviewed quite a few movies together here on the show. Jason, I think you have developed quite a prowess, especially at your age, for reviewing, and you've gotten a lot of fun to listen to, and I'm sure tonight will be no exception. I'm sure some of the movies on Jason's list, although I don't know, because I don't know what they are, I'm not looking, some of the movies on Jason's list, I'm sure, are things that we've talked about on this program before. Some of them probably won't be. I do want to ask, so Jason's 12 favorite movies, because he is about to turn 12 in a week. And originally we were jumping back and forth, like, should this be a top 10? I did my top 20 movies, favorite movies of all time, a few years ago, and I thought maybe we could make this a supplement to that and make it exactly that. Jason wasn't sure he'd have 20. He wasn't totally sure how easy it would be to put that together. And then I thought, oh, wait, it's about to be his birthday. Maybe we could just do 12, and that would be kind of the perfect number. So, Jason, I'm excited.
If it was 20, it would have taken, like, I would have been like, it would have been like 18 or 19, and I'd be like, what can I even put? Like, I'm out of movies.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see the different genres and things that might show up here, and how much of it is action stuff and how much of it might be superhero stuff and sci-fi things. And if you have any kind of just straight up like mainstream dramas or anything like that on your list, so... I didn't get any kind of look on his face when I said that, so it could go either way, I suppose. Welcome, thanks for watching, everybody. Please throw some questions Jason's way to help facilitate conversation. If there's anything that comes to you as we're going, either about movies that Jason's talking about, or especially when we get to the end of the show, anything you might be surprised didn't make his list, or you know, things like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get right down to it. We're going to count from 12 to 1. And Jason's going to start with his least favorite of his 12 favorite movies. Are you ready, sir?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm just going to sit back and let Jason talk. Here we go.
Okay, number 12. Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2?
Toy Story 2.
As opposed to any of the other Toy Stories?
Yes. This has always been my favorite Toy Story movie, and it's always been my favorite Pixar movie.
I didn't even really realize that.
I used to watch this all the time when I was like 7, 8, maybe even 6.
It's weird how sometimes you don't know your kids as well as you think you do. Like, I knew you liked 2, but I thought you'd only seen it a couple of times. You're saying you've seen it more than any of the other Toy Stories?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I think 3 I've seen the least.
When was the last time you saw it?
Like a year ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, you must just be sneaking off watching Toy Story 2 when I'm not looking. Have you been watching it more since Disney Plus happened?
No.
Like, when you watched it last, was it on Disney Plus?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about why you like Toy Story 2 so much, especially compared to the other ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of this is like a nostalgia thing. But some of this is just like I really like the plot, and I'm not a huge Buzz Lightyear fan, but all of his like whatever backstory there is because there's not much, and then there's also...
Well, that's probably part of why you like 2 more, because it's much more Woody-driven, and Buzz is thrown to the background in every movie in some way or another after that first one. Like, it seems like they didn't have anything all that much left to say with him after that, and becomes very comic relief. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I like his friendship with Woody a lot past that, but we don't get a lot of real character arc material for him.
Yeah, and it's like, I know what happens in the movie, but I'm like, oh, like, what's gonna happen? Like, I don't know.
You think it's more exciting than some of the others?
It's more exciting.
When they're rushing off into the city and they have that absurd scene where they're like trying to get across traffic and traffic cones. And, my favorite thing from 2 is just the design for Emperor Zurg. I think it's perfect, and I bought an action figure of it, and I love it.
Yes. I think...
Space villains that start with the letter Z
Yes.
are a big deal to me for some reason. I don't know why that is.
Sure.
Two is not my favorite. I don't even think two is my second favorite. Like a lot of people love 2's fine. I mean, I like it fine. It does have a scene that kind of made me choke up in the theater, I guess. And the best of those have that, but it's not my favorite.
Oh, and I also used to laugh. You know how, like, during the credits scene or, like, right after it, they have a bunch of, like, bloopers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always laughed at that scene.
Yeah, and that one has some of the best of the bloopers of those, because that was an early Pixar thing. Several of those did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bugs Life does it. Bugs Life, which is loosely based on Seven Samurai, which I just reviewed a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or last week.
Huh.
Well, let's hear your number 11, Jayson.
My number
This
11.
is off to a good start.
Yes. So my number 11...
No, you gotta do it like you did the first time.
Number 11...
There you go. You gotta be consistent with
is-
the announcer voice.
The Lego Batman movie.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know you liked that much.
So I hadn't
This might
seen
give away something later. Do you like that movie better than the Lego movie?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So perhaps we won't see the Lego movie also on this list. All right, go ahead.
Well, I didn't think
You were just shocking me tonight already.
And we're only in, like, we haven't even started talking about my number 11. So I hadn't seen this since, like, 2017. when it
Hayden
first
Spring,
came
you
out.
can have nostalgia when you're 11. Absolutely you can. Because you have to keep in mind that from the perspective, I mean, I don't mean to speak for you, Jayson, but I feel like I can go back and put myself in the shoes of where I was when I was 12. By the way, 12 was my favorite age. I've been so excited for you to get to 12 and to live that again vicariously through you. But time moves a lot more slowly when you're a kid, and so those 6 years feel like 20. Like, you can absolutely look back to 7, 8, even 9 years old, and it feels like a long time ago, and there are things that have changed since then, especially in this day and age where the real world feels like to some degree like it almost moves in internet time, like as fast as internet time does. I bet time moves even at an even weirder rate for kids where it seems like so much more has changed. Do you feel that way? That like a ton, like the whole world is different now than it was when you were 6, 7?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, talk about the Lego Batman movie.
So I hadn't seen this since it came out, 2017, and then I just saw it like a few months ago, and I mean, you watched it with me.
When I did the Rewind Unscripted on it.
Yeah, I mean, you watched it with me because, yeah. Well, it was more like I watched it with you.
Sure.
And I laughed at like everything in that movie.
Oh, I remember this.
I could not stop laughing.
And you were really surprised because you didn't remember it being that funny.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like it's really geared toward like kids my age or even older.
Kids your age now.
Now.
What's your favorite bit or two in that movie? Like, what do you think is the funniest stuff in it?
I definitely started laughing at the first part of the movie when he has
the Michael Jackson
thing, and then who?
Yeah, that's great. Well, and even the beginning of that speech where it's like black, all important movies begin with a black screen. That's really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's got like I like how it like makes so many like obscure references to Batman things and other things.
And not always
then,
the most obvious stuff. Like they, somebody really likes that character in the history of, going back
you got
decades.
like Calendar Man.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I didn't even know that was a thing until the Lego Batman movie, and then I have like a Lego of Calendar Man. But yeah, just all the Phantom Zone stuff.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting them to just pull random stuff from other franchises. Like, they didn't have to do that, but
Was that
it's a
one of the
Lego
weaker things in
movie.
that movie, or did you like it okay?
I mean, they pulled it off okay. It's definitely one of the weaker points of the movie, but yeah.
That always struck me as they're being worried that they would lose people if they didn't do some of the like more popular things from the Lego movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the draws of that, because they sold it on that, is crossover from some different material. Like in even the trailer for the original Lego movie, it was like, look, here's Michelangelo from Ninja Turtles, which is funny because then they subsequently immediately lost the license for Ninja Turtles. But I guess they thought like Batman's got to have some of that crossover stuff too, or they can't get non-Batman fans to go watch that, and they were trying to get the same crowd, to appeal to the same crowd. Well, do you want to move on?
Sure.
All right. So far, his bottom two. So here's what I'm expecting. Let's see what happens. I'm expecting this list to get more adult as it goes along. It's like the kiddie stuff is at the back end, and then we're gonna get more serious, more sophisticated, more rated R as it moves along, or like hard PG-13. The couple of rated R movies I've let Jayson see that he really likes. That's what I'm expecting. I guess we'll see what happens. But so far,
we'll see.
Your first two movies have just been cartoon movies, kids movies, and 3D animated movies. Interestingly, let's see what happens next.
Number 10. Poltergeist.
Yeah!
Yes.
Talk about Poltergeist! The first horror movie you ever saw.
Yeah, and I always try to see this. I've seen it twice, and like I try to see it every Halloween, but I don't usually get to it.
We've been trying to make that a tradition, but for various reasons it hasn't worked out yet.
Yeah.
Well, what did we watch last year instead?
We watched bunch of movies.
I showed you the original Halloween.
Yeah.
Around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not actually Halloween night, but around there, yeah.
Yeah, around there.
And I wouldn't expect that to be on your list, but I remember you liking it.
Yeah, it's not, but...
Okay, we'll talk about Poltergeist. How many times have you seen that now?
2. Twice, I think.
Okay. Do you remember it pretty well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty well, yeah. Well, because I feel like I did just watch that, like, last year.
Interesting.
I thought I did, but...
You know why? It's because about a year and a half ago we watched it with the Discord. With the Patreon Discord. You remember that?
Yeah,
You were there for that.
Yeah.
That's got to be the last time we saw
Okay,
it. But
yeah.
that wasn't a crazy long time ago.
No, it wasn't. So that's why I remember it, because I was remembering, like, everything was coming back to me with, like, the kid in the room where, like, he was counting, like, between when the lightning struck.
Right.
And then it was getting closer.
The creepy tree and
Yeah.
the clown and, yeah.
And, yeah, in the closet. This movie's weird. Not as weird as some of the other movies I put on my list, but, it's a little weird.
Is that what you like about it?
Yeah. It's also, it is creepy. I will say that. It was the first Halloween movie I watched, and I don't know if it should have been.
Oh, do you think I showed it to you too early, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
You seemed okay with it.
Yeah.
I won't tell you guys just how young he was when I let him watch Poltergeist, but...
Yeah.
Would you believe that is a PG-13 horror movie?
I would believe it. It's probably not as scary as like Friday the 13th or whatever.
Well, no, I mean those don't even compare. But and it's not gory.
Yeah.
Except for like one scene, and it's not even a thing that's really happening.
It's the best part.
With the kid that's.
Or
is it a kid, or who is it?
No, it's the guy. It's like the plumber guy. No, not the plumber guy, but that one guy.
Somebody rips his face off in a mirror.
Comes to help.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the cleaners.
Yeah, one of the cleaners. That's why I thought plumber.
And I was expecting you to really freak out about that when you were little, and that was not the bit that bothered you.
No, that was
there were other more atmospheric.
Really funny.
Pardon me. That was weird pronunciation. It was weird emphasis, but there were other more like atmospheric things that bugged you when you saw it the first time. I think the dead bodies at the end with the flood kind of freaked you out.
Yeah. Well, and
we're like trying to get out of the graves and.
Yeah, and the tree did freak me out a bit.
The tree always bothers little kids.
Yeah. And like the stuff with the closet and stuff.
It's always stuff
and everything just flying around.
Yeah, it's always stuff that adults would find more mundane, but that kids can imagine in their everyday life. So like the more mundane but freaky it is, the worse it is for kids. Because if you had something like, I mean, I don't know why you'd have this, but if you had something like that clown doll or something that you could imagine coming to life like that that's sitting in your room in the dark, when you're a kid and you see that movie, you take that and you put it in the closet. You know, or if you had that tree outside, you'd close the blinds, like because your imagination makes it worse than it is in the actual movie.
Yeah.
What do you think of the little old lady who cleans the house? Who's like notorious for the high-pitched, creepy voice and.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Wait. She's not who I'm thinking of.
Well, she's the don't go into the light lady.
Oh, then she is who I'm thinking.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought that lady wasn't old.
I mean, older, or, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she's got a weird voice, but yeah.
You can see why she was cast there. Mm-hmm. It's a good performance. Okay, well, you want to move on?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also, I did watch the Simpsons, Poltergeist ripoff.
It's my favorite episode of that.
Or spin-off or whatever.
Parody. If you see Talos, you're probably in the linen closet again.
Okay.
I'm somewhere where I don't know where I am. All right, so we have 2 cartoon kids movies and a Steven Spielberg produced horror film.
Yes.
Let's see what comes next. Go right ahead.
Number 9. The Batman.
The Batman. Wow, is already on your favorite movies list.
Yes.
I mean, he loved it, and it's crazy because that is a long movie. And I had to go see it 2 days after we went the first time, and I took Jayson the first time. Jayson was like, I have to go. He came with me. I thought I was going to have to go by myself. Didn't we go twice?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was like...
And you never see movies twice in a theater.
I didn't know if I actually liked it or not the first time. And then
that's
I saw it again, and I was like...
But it seemed like the more we talked about it, the more you just kept throwing accolades at it. Like,
yeah, it's like the reverse of Dark Knight Rises. Where, like, it's a good movie. And
you really don't want to watch that again.
It's a really bad movie.
Okay, what do you love about the Batman? Even though we're only 3 in, that's surprisingly high to me. That's really cool.
Yeah. I am...
Daniel Davis says it's way too recent, but whatever, floats your boat. I'll be curious to see if it stays there down the road, but I think it might, because I don't know that another Batman movie for Jayson, because remember, Jason's not the mega Batman fan that I am. I don't know, I mean, you like Batman. Like, he's wearing a Batman shirt right now. But I don't want to speak for you, but, like, you don't think of yourself as, like, the bat nut that I am, right? Mm-mm. let me just ask you this, without revealing anything else on your list. Would you have put a Batman movie on this list before the Batman?
No.
Well, there you go. There you go. I bet this stays. It may not, and he can do whatever he wants to, but I bet this stays.
Maybe 89. Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. We'll talk about the Batman, dude.
The Batman. I guess, okay. I've said this a few times already, but so I really like yeah, it is very recent. But that's kind of what I like about it, because it's not...
I like it because it's recent. So 10 years from now, I'm really not going to care for this movie anymore.
No, it doesn't...
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
It's not scared to, like, try things that they didn't do in the, like, Nolan trilogy or whatever. That they didn't do in other Batman movies.
Even more comic booky type things?
Yeah, like, and... Yeah, just more comic booky type things, and it's very like modern with all the like phone stuff and stuff, and
that was eloquent.
Phone stuff and stuff. And it and the Penguin's hilarious, and I think what's the guy's face?
The guy's face?
What's that?
Two-Face isn't in that movie, Jayson.
No, Catwoman's dad.
Oh, yeah, Falcone.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him in the movie. Because I think I had only seen him in the animated series, right?
No, you're thinking of a different crime boss. But Falcone is in, because they pronounce it Falcone in the Batman and in Gotham. It's Falcone everywhere else. But he is in Batman Begins. He's the mob boss that Batman throws on the searchlight that becomes the bat symbol.
Oh.
That's that same character.
Oh, okay.
Very differently characterized, but same character.
But I was kind of surprised to see him in there.
So do you like gritty crime drama stuff? Just in general, like, is that part of what you appreciated about that? Like, were you really into the detective stuff? Like, was part of the reason it was exciting to you because Batman was actually, like... And I don't mean to project my own interests on this, but I'm just trying to pick Jason's brain and figure out why he's latching onto it. Was it because Batman's got to, like, really solve a crime and unravel a mystery?
Yeah. And I think it just gets more, like, creepy as it goes along. And, like, more, like, I don't know, like, dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, more exciting.
And you haven't gotten to see a ton of stuff like that yet.
Yeah.
So this probably scratched an itch for you in, like, opening up that genre some. Like, there's probably a lot of older movies that you'll appreciate more now because you saw the Batman. But you might be appreciating the Batman more because of some things you haven't seen yet. What I mean is, some of this was probably original for you that wouldn't have been for other people because you're young and you haven't seen a lot of dark movies.
I just thought of a movie that I should have put on my list.
I knew that was going to happen.
Because of the Batman. Yeah.
Well, I guess you can tell us about it later. Why don't you file it away? Okay, so 2 kids movies, a horror movie, and a darker superhero movie.
Yes.
So a good variety so far.
Yeah.
We're into your 5th pick now. It's number 8. Yes,
number 8. Number 8. Beetlejuice. Yes. I had to put Beetlejuice on this list.
Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, but not 89.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that. It would have been weird if I put 89 on this list.
Yeah.
As well as Beetlejuice.
Jason just likes early Michael Keaton movies with where he teams up with Tim Burton.
I've seen 2 of those movies. There's only 2 of those movies, right?
Returns too, but yeah.
Returns sucks.
I know you don't like Returns, but I'm just saying it's in there.
Oh, you know what the worst Batman movie is? The Returns commentary.
You had you had the misfortune of watching that with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk about Beetlejuice, man.
Beetlejuice. The first time, so this is kind of
I don't know if you want to say it 3 times in a row, but
this is kind of like Poltergeist, but when I first saw this, it creeped me out.
Yeah. It's weird in a different way.
With like the weird faces.
And intentionally weird.
And the wedding scene. Like, I did not like that at all.
But it's number 8 on your list.
Yes.
It's over the
I just
Batman.
thought of another movie.
It's on the it's over the Batman and Poltergeist, but you're starting with problems.
Yeah.
You're starting with criticisms.
But
hi, Connor.
Then I watched it again, and it's weird, but it's not really scary. Michael Keaton is amazing.
Yeah.
Because I had only seen him in '89. So.
It's just a completely different thing, of course.
Like, did you get to the other side of the house? Did
you have any problem?
Did you have any problem finding the house? Yeah, like, like.
And of course, you saw it
wacky,
backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, Beetlejuice was the reason that people were one of the reasons people were nervous about him doing that movie.
Yeah. Well, and also Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom was the thing everybody talked about. Like, Batman cannot be Mr. Mom. And then, of course, nobody even remembers that's a thing because that movie's really mediocre. He's fun in it, but it's not a good script.
What else?
Yeah, talk about what you like about Beetlejuice.
I really like what's her face.
Okay.
Not Wednesday.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm just gonna call her Not Wednesday.
But same actress.
Yeah.
Or no, not same actress. I'm thinking, she's also the girl in Casper.
Yeah.
She was getting, I think, right? She started getting typecast.
But she.
And we did review this on the show, so you've already talked about Beetlejuice a little bit.
I have, yes.
Yeah. So we don't have to spend too long on this, but
I also
just
talked
remembered
about the Batman, so that's why I didn't. Really
She's Lydia.
Lydia.
Right?
I'm just gonna keep calling her Not Wednesday though, because she dresses exactly like her. It's like not Anne Harriet in the Batman.
Not Anne Harriet, yeah. I wish she was just straight up Anne Harriet, though.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Well, daylight come and we want to go home. You want to move on?
Yeah. Oh, one more thing.
Absolutely.
I was a couple years ago. I had to do a. This is very strange.
Did you do a dance to that?
I went to a convention.
Like
a dance convention, and I had to do a ballet dance to the song with like the last song.
Yeah.
In the last scene.
I can't remember the name of that either, but I know what you're talking about.
Shake.
Sonora. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You had to do a dance to that?
I had to do a ballet dance to that.
Was it a cover or was it exactly that song?
It was exactly that song.
How do you dance ballet to that song? You'd think you'd do like salsa or something to that song. Right?
We might have done a move that was kind of like the salsa, but...
Okay.
Yep. It was weird.
Okay. Well, let's move on, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, when you started watching the cartoon.
Yeah.
That pilot is bizarre.
It's
crazy what they let them get away with it.
Yeah.
Man. It's wild. It actually almost holds up better as an adult. I was shocked by it. I thought it was. I was gonna go back and be like, oh, it's more generic than I remember it, kind of like 87 Ninja Turtles can be. Boy, it wasn't like that at all.
It reminded me a lot. It both. Like, it's very strange because
it's
horror
nothing
like that.
freakazoid is what it is.
It's nothing
and
like
that's before that. But
it's nothing like this at all. But it definitely reminded me of the Back to the Future show.
Oh, just in animation or
animation and just
adapting. It's way better than that. Though.
It's way better than it, but I don't know. I like that show.
So number 7. So now we've had a horror comedy.
Yes.
It's a dark superhero movie, horror comedy.
Yes. And 2 3D
animated kids movies. Now I feel like we're just doing like 12 Days of Christmas, right? We gotta count them all down again, going backwards. Like, and a partridge. Okay, so what's your number 7?
Number 7, Clue.
Clue.
I
wasn't even thinking about that. I forgot that you knew that movie.
Clue. Yes.
And like halfway, or not quite halfway, but pretty far up your list.
Yeah, this is number 7.
Crazy.
Clue is Another nostalgic thing, because I used to watch this way more than Toy Story 2.
That's crazy.
And Tim Curry was always my favorite actor. I think he still is.
Just in general?
Mm-hmm.
What else have you even seen him in besides, like, Muppet Treasure Island and...
Home Alone 2, and...
Sure, but...
What's that movie? I don't remember.
But you've seen him in some other stuff.
I've seen him in some other stuff.
Okay.
I like him.
He was supposed to be the Joker in the animated series Batman. I don't know if you knew that.
Anyway,
the story is he started recording lines and they fired him because he was too scary. But I'm not sure how true that actually is. But yeah, he got it and then they let him go and then they brought Mark Hamill in. But anyway,
okay.
talk about Clue.
So Clue is fun because it has a bunch of like different possible endings, and there's also a cut where it's just all of the endings, and it's very like mystery, and it's like, oh, what's gonna happen to these people, and it's just a fun comedy.
And the multiple endings thing was real ahead of its time. And was real, I don't know, kind of innovative and novel and handled well. I mean, they're funny, like all the different permeations of like who actually did it, and it makes it feel more like the board game because you get to the end and there's all these different possibilities of who did it with what in what room. And I don't know if you know this, but in the we haven't reviewed this together, I don't think.
Nope.
In the theater, apparently, I don't know how true this is either, but I think this is true. Apparently, you got a different ending.
Yep.
Depending on what showing you went to.
Yep.
And I think on video, the DVDs and Blu-rays have it set up to where you can either watch it with a random ending, or where you can watch the version that they put on VHS that has all the different endings all put together at the end.
Or, yeah.
I think the definitive one is the one at the very, very end. And, like, if you don't see that one, I think you're kind of missing too much of the movie.
Yeah,
so,
that's like the actual ending.
The actual, but it's possible that you miss the actual ending if you go to the theater.
It's
but
cool.
yeah, I really I didn't want to give that away in case people watching this haven't seen that movie, because I wouldn't call that obscure, but I'm sure there's a lot of younger people that wouldn't even think to look at that. It would just look like a pointless cash grab comedy based on a board game. It's really clever.
And I don't know how that was based on a board game. Like, I've never played the board game.
Oh, have you not?
No.
We'll have to do that at some point. I didn't realize you'd never played that. That's one of those games that they do a whole lot of different licensed versions of. I used to have the 24 version of Clue.
I think you still have the 24.
I got rid of it because I didn't have anybody to play it with.
You have some version of Clue.
Nobody else. Like I mean, I've got the original, and I might even have like the nicer wooden version. I don't know if I ever bought that. I know I have Scrabble that way. But anyway. Go ahead. Oh, I have the Game of Life that way too. Now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, what is your number 6, Jason?
My number 6. Grease.
Yeah, I knew Jason was going to have some things on this list that aren't huge movies for me, because he is a dancer.
Yeah.
And I assume your dance background must have something to do with your appreciation for Grease.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm suddenly realizing a couple things that are going to be on this list later, now that you've said Grease. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, Grease, it's very... I don't even know what to call it. It's a... Don't watch this movie with subtitles.
Why do you say that?
Well, because the second time I watched it with subtitles, and I caught a lot of the more, like adult...
Risque dialogue?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Like the more adult, like, jokes and stuff.
We shouldn't be surprised that the more inappropriate movies are higher on Jason's list.
Well,
But what do you like about Grease? I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
I mean,
I certainly know the soundtrack better than I know the film.
yeah,
It's a
like,
real music.
yeah, like the soundtrack is amazing.
Not a
the
musical,
dance,
but music driven.
The dance is great. The lip syncing is gosh awful.
Am I remembering this right? Is Grease actually a musical, or is it just music? Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it
See,
is.
that's how much I don't remember Grease. Like, all
Oh,
right.
we gotta watch Grease. Okay, never mind.
No, we can't. I feel bad that I don't remember anything about it anymore.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I always confused it with Footloose. Like, those are very different movies, but...
Yeah. And I've only seen Footloose once. I would have put it on my list if I, like, remembered it more, but I don't, so...
When was the last time you saw that?
Footloose?
Yeah.
A couple years ago, or a year ago?
No, I'm sorry, Grease.
Or Grease? Like...
See, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, yes, of course Grease is a musical. I always mix it. I'm still doing it now. I always mix it up with Footloose.
Yeah. Like, well, Footloose is also a musical.
Is it?
Yeah.
This is fun. Look, I didn't bring this up, okay?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Are we mixing it up with, like, Dirty Dancing?
No!
Okay.
I know Dirty Dancing a lot better than either of those movies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't really like, what's his face, the main guy, but he's fine.
But it's number 6 on your list.
I really like
Or are we at 5 now?
This is number 6.
Okay.
But yeah, I really like the ending scene with the last song and how, like, the whole movie they're trying to get each other to like them, and so they're trying to be more like the other person, and so in the end, like, the girl just basically she's just like wearing a bunch of leather and everything, and she has just turned into the guy, and the guy is just turned into the girl. Like, well, no, he's more like he's trying to get more athletic and stuff, and he's terrible at basketball and everything. It's hilarious, but and it's very, like, dramatic with all of, like, the with, like, the diner scene where they can't, like, I don't remember the characters' names, but the girl doesn't like the boy, and then,
Daniel Davis says Footloose isn't really a musical. It's a film about music, and thus has a huge soundtrack. That's what I was remembering,
Yeah,
and still to this day, I'm mixing those movies up. Oops. Anyway, what's your number 5, Jason?
my number 5 is Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, I knew was going to be on this list.
Yes.
And we've talked about doing a video on that, but I don't think we have.
No, I don't think we have.
That is the first, I want to say one of the first rated R movies I let you see. I think I let you see RoboCop before that.
Yeah, you did. And I can't remember anything about that movie.
No, you haven't seen that in a really long time, but Terminator 2, I think you've seen enough times now that
I've
it's
seen
probably
that.
really solidified in your mind,
I've
right?
seen it like 4 times.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, yeah, and you never got sick of it, and you kept asking me to show it to you again.
Yep.
All right, talk about Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
And you have seen the original now, right, too?
Yes, I have. I saw it before Terminator 2, actually.
Did you really? I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
Yep, I saw Terminator 1
Do you like
and
that
then
movie?
Terminator 2. Yep, but I like Terminator 2 better.
Because it is better. Yeah,
It
go
is
ahead
better.
and talk about it.
Well, the arcade game is pretty fun. But yeah, so this movie is
He's begging me for the 1-Up for that. They just put that out. The 1-Up arcade machine.
so basically it's like I can't really remember much about the first movie, so
Sure.
but yeah, I really like.
So it's a more straightforward horror film.
Yeah,
It's a little bit
and-
more, a little more like a slasher thing, with the one bad guy that's coming after the mean girl, and it falls a little bit into the formula of the girl running away from a slasher, but then it takes a turn, and she's the hero of the piece instead of just a victim.
Yeah, and now.
And then 2 is just classic science fiction.
Yeah,
thriller
and
affair.
it's got her son in it now, 'cause,
And he is the
and then
silliest thing in the
he is-
movie.
Yes.
He's good, but he's over the top.
I do like his like whole thing with T-800. Where they're trying, like, he's trying to teach him Arnold Schwarzenegger to, like, I don't know, be a 12-year-old kid.
How to be human, yeah.
Yeah. And
well,
and
no,
I
you're
like
right.
all the-
You're right. More to be a 12-year-old kid because
Yeah.
he's trying to teach him how to have fun and.
yeah. And I like all the I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is more fun as a good guy,
Yeah.
but
Well, and what's really interesting is you'd think that would be one of those moves that would wreck the movie, but if memory serves, he said he wouldn't come back unless he didn't have to be the bad guy that time. So they formulated a piece contrived so that he could be heroic, and it became a classic. It shouldn't have worked, but it did.
it did, yeah.
Because it explores humanity through a robot and it does a really good job of it in the best tradition of, Asimov moving forward.
Yeah. And
the effects are pretty.
yeah.
And there's, it advanced us with CG so far with T-1000, and that doesn't make it good, but luckily it had a script to match all of that.
And I like all of the and I like the bike chase and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's a longer movie too. I think it's like two and a half, 2:45. Well, and there's a longer cut too. Austin and I discovered this when we were gonna do a commentary for it, and we ended up each accidentally getting different cuts, and thank goodness we realized it before we started recording. So one of us had to I forget how exactly it worked out. We finally were able to get on the same page and watch the same version, but one of us had to scramble in order to find the version the other one was watching. So that was pretty crazy. I think we ultimately ended up just watching the theatrical version, but I actually can't remember which one we did the commentary for.
I don't think I've ever watched the longer cut.
Yeah. Austin and I at some point will come back and finish those. We did that was some of the first stuff I brought him on for, and we did the first 3 over several months, and then we've talked about doing Salvation Forever. We just haven't gotten back to it.
Terminator 3. Oh gosh.
I thought you liked that movie.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember anything about that movie. I can remember Arnold Schwarzenegger beating the heck out of a car and women screaming in the back of a car that in a dog kennel.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
All right, well, you want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so we go on to now your number 4?
Yes. What do you think my number 4 is?
It's hard to say.
It's a mix. Like this whole
I'm
thing
not.
is a mixed bag.
I'm not totally sure why you're suddenly asking about 4 when you haven't asked me about any of the
Well,
others.
because you were
I
suddenly,
have
like,
ideas of one or two things that must be in the rest of this, but I don't know specifically 4. I will say The Sound of Music will absolutely be on this list.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I also predict we won't see any other superhero movies. But we'll see if that's true. Because I can't think of... Because, like, if you didn't put any other Batman movies on your list, I don't think any of the Spider-Mans would make it with you. And I'm not sure... And I don't think any of the X-Men's would make it with you. So, yeah, I think... And some people are going to be like, Jayson, that's crazy. Like, you live with the superhero... Like, your dad is the superhero rewind guy, and the only movie the superhero movie you put on your list came out, like, 8 weeks ago. But I don't...
I also put Lego Batman movie on it.
Okay, all right. No, you did have 2 Batman movies, now that we say that.
But they were both Batman movies.
That'll make it even weirder for people.
I would never put... But, like, I would never put a Superman movie on my list or a Spider-Man. Maybe if it was 20, maybe.
Sure,
Or an X-Men, or... Definitely not an X-Men. But maybe if I
You're not,
watch
like, a
those
huge fan
movies
of any
again.
of those. Well, and you haven't seen all of Logan yet, which we're gonna do real soon.
Yeah.
It's pretty violent, I realize, but I've decided Jason's at the right maturity level.
Well,
where he
and
can
we're
handle
not
that
watching the color cut. We're watching it in black and white.
which I think helps with the blood and stuff, with the violence. They should put out the John Wick movies in black and white. For that reason. Anyway, so I don't know for sure what your 4 is going to be. Let's find out. Go ahead.
Number 4.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Aladdin.
Oh, you know what? Obviously. Yeah, Jason's a big fan of the original. We have to say that now, unfortunately.
It's
Aladdin.
crazy. I keep kicking myself for putting this on my list and not Aristocats.
Oh, you didn't put Aristocats on your list?
No.
Yeah, and I know you're a big fan of that, too.
But I haven't seen it. The last time I watched it, the last time I watched the full version of it, last time I watched all of it, I was 6, and then the last time I watched it, a little bit of it, I watched half of it, and it was on VHS.
You're talking about Aladdin?
No,
or Aristocats. But Aladdin we watched. Say Aristocats again.
Aristocats.
I was just liking the way you're pronouncing it.
Aristocats.
Aristocats. It
Aristocats.
sounded like a breakfast cereal.
Aristocats. Astronomers.
So, talk about why you like Aladdin so much.
Aladdin
blew you away the first time you saw it, and tell everybody how you watched it the first time.
Oh, I watched it on VHS.
It wasn't available.
It wasn't available on DVD.
And the DVD that had come out, because they put it back in the vault, and it was before Disney Plus. So the version, the DVD that they put out years ago was really difficult to get your hands on, really expensive. And so we had to hook up my VCR to our projector.
Yep.
Just to watch. The only time I ever did that, just to watch that. And then a few months later, they finally put out another edition of it.
Mm-hmm. And
you'd think they would have put that out when the live action movie came out, but they waited a few months after that went to theaters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Maybe they were like, people will see this at home and then not want to go to the theater.
I'm never watching 2019
again.
Aladdin again. It's the
I know
worst
you hated
movie
it with
of all
a
time.
burning passion.
Oh, next week should we do my 12 least favorite movies?
We could.
'Cause
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot more superhero on there.
I'm sorry, talk about Aladdin. Yeah,
Aladdin.
We can totally do that if you want to. Or we can space
Sure.
it out and do something else next week. But we don't have a plan yet because we're preparing for other things for review down the road. So, yeah, we could totally do that. Sure. That would give us an extra week for the triple feature we're talking about.
Yeah.
That we won't reveal yet, but we're talking about a triple feature. Okay, go ahead.
So, Aladdin.
Yes, sir.
Where do I start?
It's a whole
It's
new
a musical.
world. It is a musical. And it's one of the better Disney musicals.
It's one of the better Disney musicals. And I need to see Lion King again, because
that's definitely one of my favorites.
I don't remember that movie that well.
That and Beauty and the Beast are always fighting for the top spot for me.
But Aladdin is... It's a movie that has Aladdin in it. And
come on,
the
man.
genie is hilarious.
Yep.
And I looked up later all of his references and stuff in that song, because he does Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he actually did reference to Superman 2 for 2 seconds.
Wait, really? What was that?
Yeah, he was trapped in a thing.
That's a stretch. Was that supposed to be a Phantom Zone reference? That's a stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that. I'd have to go back and look at it again.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wait, so did you look up a list of what people claimed some of that was? That's a stretch.
I looked up a couple of them.
Okay. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe I'd have to think about that. That's interesting.
And the bad guy. I should know.
Jafar.
Yeah, Jafar.
There's a crappy sequel called The Return of Him.
Of him. So yeah, Jafar he's scary. Especially when he becomes the genie. He's pretty scary.
Yeah, he's got some real
way.
menace and real gravitas. He's definitely one of their best villains.
Yeah.
From that period. Like Ursula's good. Gaston is silly, but right for that movie because obviously I don't want to go back and just review Beauty and the Beast, but like you don't want your antagonist to be scarier than the Beast, who is a partial antagonist and one of the main characters. So that's why he's got to be like that. But yeah, I think, and then Scar is great, but I think Jafar is maybe even a tad cooler than Scar to me. They're because he's not. I don't know. The way he goes out is better. Yeah. Certainly. And then both of those were massive missed opportunities in the live action remakes. Both of them, live action. And with Lion King. And Arabian Nights. Arabian Nights. Wait. And that has some of the best animation of all time. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's just beautiful. And like the lava scene. Yeah. Yeah. Really ambitious. Really, again, kind of ahead of its time. Yeah. Kind of impressive how fast that moves. And just seeing that movie again, it makes me want to watch or play the Genesis game again. Yeah, sure. Or the SNES game. I don't know. Either one. Well, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention Iago, of course. Yes. And some people were talking about that in the comments. So talk for a second. We'll just take this opportunity because I don't know where else you'll get to mention this, and this just happened. Sadly, we lost Gilbert Gottfried just yesterday. And Jayson loves him. Yeah. And you should talk a little bit about how much you like Gilbert Gottfried and how you feel about that. Yeah. I was very sad about that. I hadn't really. I mean, what else is Gilbert Gottfried really in that I hadn't seen that I didn't know about? 'Cause he was Iago and he was. The Aflac. Yeah. Mascot. And he did stand-up. Yeah. I mean, he was mostly a stand-up comedian. Yeah. He was known for, like, his roasts and things. But we spent the whole last summer quoting Gilbert Gottfried just constantly. Yeah. Like, the stuff that you know him from is not acting as much as his comedy. Of course, he was in an AVGN episode. So, I mean, there's a few things that you've seen him in. Yeah. But there's a stand-up routine that Jayson and I have listened to over and over and over again where he talks about syrup, and it's wonderful. And then we'll put it on perfectly good food. There's this disgusting brown goo. Here's an idea. Let's eat it. And let's make other people eat it. And then we'll put it on perfectly good food. And then... and then, of course, the Mortal Kombat thing. Yes. Look that up. Just look up... We're not even going to tell you what it is. Just look up Gilbert Gottfried Mortal Kombat. You won't be disappointed. It's wonderful. Yes. It's wonderful. Okay, should we go on to number 3? Mm-hmm. Mortal Kombat! Well, actually, I think we have shown that on a video before. I'm pretty sure it was After Dark. It was the Mortal Kombat review. Oh, was it? No, it was the commentary. I don't know why I said that, because it's not like you were on it After Dark. Yeah, it was the commentary. It's After Dark. Yeah. The only time you were ever on that was when we did a karaoke night, and we didn't do it like an After Dark. Anyway. It wasn't an After Dark, really. Let's go ahead and do your last 3, sir. Yeah. My number 3. I clearly should have predicted that. What do you think my number 3 is? I'm not sure. You've kind of thrown me off now, where I'm like, I'm gonna throw you off even more. I'm sitting here groping around going like, I should know that, I feel like it's a trivia question and I'm gonna lose $25,000 on a thing I absolutely should know. Yep. So you gave me this kind of smirk when I said that they were gonna get more adult as they went along. Now I'm thinking that all the adult stuff was in the middle and you bookended with family things. Let's see what number 3 is. Go ahead. Back to the Future. Back to the Future, of course! Yes! Naturally! So, yeah. In my defense, I have this thing where I think of Back to the Future, even though the first movie is clearly, well, I say clearly, that's not fair. A lot of people like 3 over the original, but it's such a great standalone piece. Yeah, I had to put this instead of 3. But 3 is better, like, when you're talking about the trilogy, but... But Back to the Future is a movie. And you didn't need any more after that. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, I think of Back to the Future as a series before I think of it as a singular movie, and I just wouldn't have thought of it in, you picking singular films because of that, which, like, it was just an oversight on my part. But yes, of course, that's there. Talk about Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. I think I can talk about this better than Aladdin. I don't know why. I've also reviewed it before, so.
Oh, we did do yeah. So we won't spend too long on this.
We won't spend too much time.
We did a whole show on the trilogy.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah, it's another nostalgic movie for me, but really only because of stories. I don't really remember. I do remember.
You don't remember seeing it the first time?
I don't remember seeing it. I remember going to the Back to the Future wedding.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my friend Tim Lyons, who passed away a few years ago, had a Back to the Future themed wedding. It was awesome, and I had to make sure. And the rest of my family was out of town that weekend. It was just me and Jayson, and I had to make sure that Jayson saw Back to the Future because he hadn't seen it yet, so that he knew what we were looking at. Because we got to take pictures in front of a DeLorean, and you just lost it when you got to see the DeLorean driving down the street.
Yeah.
But anyway, we watched it that morning, and he fell in love with it, and it was really exciting for him going to the rehearsal dinner and then the actual wedding. TH1 $2 super chat. DJ Cat played that song on You Now. What song are we talking about?
The Mortal Kombat song. But you played just Mortal
yeah.
Kombat. You didn't play the Gilbert Gottfried version.
No, I didn't play that. Maybe I did. Maybe I switched over to it. I can't remember if I did that or not. Anyway, it's not important. But thanks for the super chat. Let's move on.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, so you talking about Back to the Future?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Back to the Future is it's another kind of mature movie, but it is a family movie.
Yeah, really cool how it straddles the fence.
Yeah. And I like the 50s because I mean you've seen I put Grease on here.
Good
and stuff.
point. Sure. Yeah.
And it's weird. I was making all these connections because I was like, oh, I have 2 Disney movies on here and 2 animated movies on. I didn't think, 2 movies set in the 50s. I didn't think of that until now. But yeah, so
let me ask you a couple questions. How much of the success for you, because we're talking about just your interest, how much of the success of that movie is the car, the soundtrack, and Christopher Lloyd's comedic performance?
The car, definitely.
He goes to Back in Time in karaoke all the time.
Yeah. Wait, Back in Time.
Yeah, or Power of Love.
Power of Love, yeah. No, I've never done Back in Time.
You should.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't think I know that song well enough. Maybe.
Because I think, for me, when I was a kid, Doc Brown was the big pull.
Mm-hmm. Not really for me.
Interesting.
But yeah. And, yeah, it's very, it's comedic and it's funny. Those are the same thing. Don't know.
It is weird when you're 12 years old and you're one of your favorite movies is a movie about a guy whose mom falls in love with him.
Yeah. Mhm. But yeah, it's. I watched this series on YouTube.
Nobody's parents kept them away from this movie because that was, just because that was what the movie was about.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And Roger Rabbit has that a little bit too, with just how risque and adult that movie can get relatively, even though it does also work as a family film. Mm-hmm. Really, and I bring that up because of course they're both Zemeckis. You haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Which movie?
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. No, I've seen it in a year.
Well, I was talking about that the other day, and you seem to be missing you're forgetting major details about it. So I wasn't sure how well you remember that movie.
It's just, it doesn't really stand out for me. It's just a movie. I don't know.
What else do you want to say about Back to the Future?
Back to the Future is, it's a fun family movie. Oh, also, I was gonna say this.
Yeah.
So there's this YouTube series I've been watching on YouTube
Okay.
called it's like these it's called like pitch meetings, and
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, where he like pitches a bunch of different movies and
Oh,
he's,
maybe
like,
this isn't what I thought it was. Okay.
where so there's these two guys being played by the same guy in an office that's actually a green screen,
Okay, it is what I thought it was.
and yeah, and he's just like he's pitching all of these like movies and TV shows to this other guy, and he's like, and the other guy is talking about how like stupid those ideas are, and
It would never work.
yeah, and like I watched the Back to the Future one.
Gives you a little bit of a historical perspective.
Yeah.
Here's how ridiculous this movie sounds on paper.
Yeah.
Before it gets made. Back to the Future is one of the big ones where it's
Yeah.
like, so wait, his mom does what now?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I've been watching those a lot lately.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, let's go to your number 3, man.
My number 3.
Right?
That was my number.
Oh, that was. I'm sorry. I've lost track of where we're at. Well, that's good because we're an hour in already, and we've only got 2 more left.
Wow.
So let's see. So I really think your 1 or 2 has to be Sound of Music, unless you forgot it somehow. But that would shock me. So let's see what your number 2 is.
My number 2.
And if it's Sound of Music,
is-
I don't know what your number 1 is. Well, I'm all frazzled and lost at this point.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Well, we've been talking about so many movies. I'm not thinking about. I'm having a hard time coming up with what's coming next.
Well, I thought you would have known me better to know what my favorite movie is.
I thought it was gonna be Sound of Music.
Wow.
So now I'm thrown. I'm not sure what it is.
Number 2.
Is
You're
Sound
gonna
of-
kick
is
yourself.
Sound of Music.
Is the Sound of
The
Music.
Sound of Music. Okay, so
So-
I don't know what 1 is. I'm gonna keep thinking while he. Well, it's not the Wizard, is it?
What? No. No, that would be number 100. No,
It's not the Return of Captain Invincible, is it? Should that have been on there? Go ahead and talk about Sound of Music.
Okay.
And then before we go to 1, to keep me and everybody else in suspense, I want to know what those other movies were that you were kicking yourself for not putting on. Go ahead.
Okay, so I can't think of one of them that I thought of during.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it was while I was thinking of Beetlejuice.
You should have written it down.
Should have, but
Yeah.
I was talking about movies.
So why do you like Sound of Music so much?
Sound of Music.
Your favorite musical, yes?
Yes, it is my
Well,
favorite musical.
Clearly, yeah.
And it is very nostalgic for me.
There are 2 musicals on your list.
And-
not
yeah.
not counting, a Disney
yes.
movies. That makes it like 4, but or 3. I guess still just 3 because you did Aladdin, and then your Pixar pick wasn't a musical.
Yeah. But yes.
Tom, I don't think it's going to be Ghostbusters. I am maybe a little bit surprised Ghostbusters isn't on this list, but no.
No. It would have been like maybe number like I don't know 15 or something.
Okay, so if you were doing 20,
So this movie
yeah,
is very long.
it is very long.
it's a
When I was a
very
kid,
long
it was on
movie.
2 VHS tapes.
Yes. And I have, well, technically have the first VHS tape, except it's stuck inside my TV. So,
Really?
yeah, it's
You have a
right
t-
in there.
You have a TV with a VCR that has Sound of Music stuck
Yes.
in it.
It's stuck in it.
I didn't remember that.
It's either,
I know
I'm
you
pretty
have
sure
that.
it's the first one.
I know you have that TV, and I know that VCR doesn't work, but I didn't realize that was the tape that was stuck
Yep.
in it. That's funny. All right, good.
It's very ironic. Because it's my favorite movie, so it's the only thing I can watch.
And only half of it.
And only half of it, so yeah.
Is it are you sure it's the first tape and not the second tape? Because that'd be pretty funny.
That would be really funny. Yeah, so the intermission
Every
has
time
French words in it.
the movie starts with the Nazis
That-
invading every time.
Yeah,
Isn't that about the halfway point?
about.
I
Yeah.
don't remember. I haven't
So
seen that
the
movie in so
intermission
long.
has French words in it, and that's why I like this movie so much. No, I like this movie because it it's a musical and it's funny, and then it gets very dramatic, and it's like like Nazis are invading and they're trying to find the Von Trapp family, and then because the captain has to go to the war, but he's just found this thing again called fun, and he doesn't want to like not have fun anymore.
When I was a kid, that movie bored me to tears.
Really?
Yeah, and Jayson isn't just discovering this now as he's becoming more sophisticated and appreciating what, you know, good stories are and good film. Like, you've loved this movie forever.
Yeah, I have.
I went to Germany 5 years ago and got to see some of the places that movie was filmed on, and Jayson was jealous back then.
Yeah.
When he was like 7.
Yeah, I was 7. Yeah. And also it was a big deal seeing this in the theater, cause I got to see this in the theater, and that is the best theater experience ever. Mostly because I was like almost front row, but also like I was pretty front, but
He was pretty front, you guys.
I was pretty front. But
that's really cool you got to do that.
Yeah, this movie is just a very like theatrical movie.
Sure.
And it has, you know, it has a really good soundtrack, and I still have to. I have the saxophone sheet music for it, and I need to finally learn some of those songs.
Yeah.
I have
Jayson plays
that,
saxophone.
and I have that in the Nutcracker, and I haven't learned any of those pieces because when I got those, I could only play like 3 notes. That feels really weird to me. But yeah, this movie has always been one of my favorite movies, and for the longest time, my favorite movie. And then
something beat it out.
And then a couple years ago, I watched a movie.
Oh, I know what it is. Okay, no, sorry, I know what it is. And I should have been surprised that this didn't come up earlier, or that it wasn't your number 2, because I really thought Sound of Music would beat that out. But no, I know what his number 1 is, and I feel like an idiot.
Exactly.
So let's talk about things that didn't make your list.
Yeah.
I am shocked not to see Jurassic Park there anywhere.
And yeah, I was going to put this on the list.
Mm-hmm.
That it would have been like my number 13
Okay.
or 14.
Okay. Jayson got to see that in the theater once too.
I did, yes.
And I really thought that theater experience would have pushed it over the top, because I remember you talking a lot that day about how much cooler that was, seeing it that way. Mm-hmm. What was the movie that you were kicking yourself about?
Either.
Yeah.
Okay. Either Casino Royale or No Time to Die.
Sure. Yeah, you're missing a Bond movie.
I don't know.
I didn't even think of that. And
Probably Casino Royale.
Jayson hasn't seen a lot of the Bond movies, but he's turning more and more into a Bond kid.
Mm-hmm.
You've read the Casino Royale book.
I have.
And he's a big fan of that.
Yes. And
No Time to Die is killer.
Yeah.
But not Skyfall.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm still
which
like this.
one do I put there? Probably Casino Royale.
I know we're in the minority, but
'Cause
I'm still like this.
Yeah. And then
Again, those 3 work wonderfully as a trilogy, even though there's 2 not so great movies in between.
there was a movie
That you thought of while we were talking about Beetlejuice.
We were talking about
Beetlejuice. It wasn't Misery by chance, was it?
No, but
Because I did let
I'm kicking myself for
I did
that,
finally let you see
too.
Misery, and you liked that a lot.
No, it was like more of like a comedic movie that I can't think of it.
Groundhog Day?
No, but jeez. No, just stop. No.
So, you know what? This is a really solid list, though, Jayson.
It is.
Now, people are going to be dismayed that your number 1 is beating out everything else on this list, but you have to understand that this is just a personal taste thing. I'm gonna sort of speak for you for a second. This is a personal taste thing for Jayson. I don't know that anything will ever beat this movie out because of the experience he had with it first time out, and then when he watched it again later, is like he doubled down. He was like, "Yep, this is my favorite movie of all time," and I don't know if you can beat it. Jayson's number. Can I say it, or do you want to say it?
Yeah, sure.
You want me to say
My
it?
number 1.
Of the 50 things you're all thinking of, like
It's almost a possession.
I don't even...
From 1981.
Yeah, you haven't
I don't
seen
even
that.
know what that is.
So, I'm not even sure what that is. So, of the 50 things anybody watching right now is thinking of, watching live, watching after the fact, nobody's going to have
Alien 3.
There's no chance any of you guys have any sense of what it is. Yeah, feel free to keep throwing them out, Caligula. Are you ready?
Yes.
Should I say it?
Yeah.
Jason's #1 favorite movie of all time is Demolition Man.
Yes.
He loves it.
Demolition Man.
And we've talked about doing a show on that, but we never have.
No, Spawn.
Spawn.
I almost put it on my list, actually.
Why?
I thought about it, but for like a second, and I'm like, what the heck am I thinking?
All you did was complain about how... You just slapped yourself?
Yes, I did. About how cheaply made it is, and how they spent all their money on the credits. On the opening credits.
Yeah, you just kept complaining about that.
Yeah. It does not look
Sorry,
good.
I almost made the obligatory Chris Rock joke and then I decided against it. So, go ahead and talk about Demolition Man.
I don't need that anymore. Demolition Man.
Oh,
Is...
hi, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Michonne just popped in and said, I can see that pig. Talk about Demolition Man. Explain what it is for people that might not be familiar with it.
It's very... Hold up, I'm just
So, Stallone.
I'm in so many different, like, moods right now, because...
The Hills Are Alive with the sounds of Demolition Man.
And also Power of Love and...
It's hard to do these list things because you gotta
the
move...
Power of Arabian Nights and...
Don't go into the Arabian Nights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and... Yeah.
Anyway, talk about Demolition Man.
And Sandra D. And... Anyway,
Demolition Man has Sandra Bullock in it.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock. So, yeah, this is one of the best Sylvester Stallone pieces ever.
You didn't put a Rocky movie on your list either.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Really?
No.
Oh, I thought you were like a big Rocky guy. When you were younger, you wanted to watch Rocky movies a lot. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
And the GameCube game is really good too.
But you're putting Demolition Man over any of the Rocky movies.
Yes, because it's the best Sylvester Stallone piece ever. So
now, do you say that
Demolition Man-
ironically? Is it because it's funny, or is it because you legitimately think it's
He's
a really good
great.
movie? Okay, all right, go ahead.
So, okay, so basically, this is,
Daniel Davis in all caps. Sorry, Taco Bell.
So this is very, this is Sylvester Stallone playing a guy who, goes to the future because, like a thief because he's a cop.
Mm-hmm. He goes in
And-
cryostasis.
Yes, to go into the future, and then he goes in the future, and like it's all against like swearing and smoking and eating things that.
Yeah, there's a lot of anti-free speech laws.
Yeah, and it's just very
Like, the best way
It's
to describe it
weird.
is, oppressive utopia, where it's like everybody seems to get along in like a eerie, kind of creepy way.
Yeah.
But the question is, of course, like, at what cost?
Yeah. And so
And
basically,
nobody has any backbone. The police aren't allowed to carry guns. It's real relevant in this day and age, not to get too political with it, but it's become a weirder movie to look at the closer we arguably get to some things in that movie.
yeah.
It's not a movie I think you could make now, honestly. Or
No.
it would actually seem a lot more shocking and risky, I think, brave to make that movie now.
And people get tickets for swearing.
Yeah.
And the bad guy just keeps swearing, and it's hilarious.
It works because it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is one of the things that people don't like it or don't seem to get it don't don't like about it is that it's too silly. But I think if you didn't play it that way, it would come off super preachy. And so everything is exaggerated, and it's the absurdity that makes it work. It's kind of like if you made 1984, but as a really absurd piece. That's what that's like.
And yeah, it's an action comedy drama kind of, because you got the whole, like, you've got the whole scene with the woman, what's her face? Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock, yeah.
And she, I don't remember. It's like that whole like brain thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't seen this movie in a while.
No, I haven't seen it in like a year or something like that. Year and a half. But yeah, so I'm just trying to like, and also I'm just thinking about a bunch of different types of movies. So I'm trying to. Like,
sure, absolutely. But suffice it to say, that's your favorite movie still.
Yes, it is.
It has been for a long time.
For a long time. It's basically like, it's Terminator 2 if it was friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy
and
that.
set in the future. Like, and not like dystopia future. Like.
Yeah. Well, and of course Terminator 2 is set in the present, but trying to avoid a future. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be really funny if you made a Terminator movie where what you were trying to avoid was the Demolition Man future.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Jayson, I like your idea of we like to plan things on. Here we are announcing things. Next time we'll do Jayson's 12 least favorite movies.
Yes.
I can't wait to see what that list looks like.
Yeah.
Now I won't get the number one with that. There's no telling for sure what your number one is. I mean, I can think of a couple things I know will be on that list. Well, is it live action Aladdin?
Maybe you'll have to see.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying is that like it's either that like that'll be on there, I'm sure. We definitely happened upon some things today that will be on that list.
That's mainly why I was like, yeah, we should do least favorite movies, because and also I hadn't put a lot of superhero movies on here. That's because a lot of them suck. I don't like a lot of superhero movies. At least.
Do you question why I spend so much time on them?
No.
Or you're like, Dad, why do you spend all your time talking about superhero movies?
Like, there's some good ones, and there's some okay ones, and there's some really bad ones.
Oh, that's true of anything.
Yeah.
Certainly. Ninja Turtles wasn't on your list.
No. Nope.
Well, guys, we'll see you again next Wednesday. I hope you'll tune in for Jayson's 12 least favorite movies. Jayson, you did a wonderful job with that, man. Oh, did you think of another one?
Well, if it was a few years ago, I would have said Turtles Forever, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And you didn't put anything direct-to-video on your list.
Mm-mm.
I think that was a solid list. I really do.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing it with us, Jayson. I had a lot of fun talking to you about those movies, and I'm even more excited for next week, honestly. That'll be interesting. And some folks in the comment were talking about how much fun they have watching you roast things.
Yeah.
We actually started this whole show with that, because we did BVS, and you had some very amusing things to say about BVS, and that did pretty well, so we kept doing these shows, and we haven't made them all about things you don't like, but that's my favorite thing, is when we just bring in a thing that Jayson's like, what is this? And because you don't hold back, Jayson.
Yes. And I'm sorry because I did not take notes this time, so I didn't really have much to go off of.
No, I think you did great.
Yeah, I couldn't think of much to talk about some of these movies.
No, I
it's
think
like, I like these movies. I have no idea why, but
yeah, no, you definitely had some insights, and I think you remembered all your movies pretty well until we got to your number one, and then you just had like overload of too many movies.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, thanks a lot for joining us, whether you did it live or after the fact, and I'll be with you again tomorrow night at 8 Central for the Captain Logan Show, so tune in then, won't you? And then Friday night, Austin and I are doing another mini-marathon on the Morbius, or at least some of the Morbius episodes from Spider-Man Animated Series, so look forward to that, and in the meantime, and then Sunday night, I'm going to come back with a review on Sonic 2, which Jayson and I are going to see over the weekend, and Jayson may or may not be with us on that review as well. Connor and I are talking about doing that right now, and might also have a Jayson. And might have an Austin, too. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time. I was Captain Logan.
And I was Jayson.
And we were father.
And son.
Bye, folks.
Bye. We won't be back after these commercials.